What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to give you a good overview of what the data points are truly saying, and over and above that, Lucid's earnings is right around the corner. I want to give you a good overview of what to potentially expect and why, oddly enough, it might be positive and bullish. So I'm going to go over all that. Make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get right to it. So today it did close 2.68% down, largely because of broader economic concerns and the yields. And when it comes down to after hours, 0.79% in the red, and that is because of Tesla earnings. And Tesla is going down almost about 4%, give or take, after hours. So might be something to potentially be aware of. It might roll over into tomorrow, of course, but I could be wrong. When it comes down to Lucid, as far as news, there was only one thing that did come out, and it was this. So Lucid is joining the United Nations Global Compact, which I think generally speaking is fairly good. Not necessarily a good catalyst to go out and buy Lucid, but I think behind the scenes this is fundamentally fairly good. And of course, going into next week, there is that whole shareholder meeting on the 24th. And based on this, I've already touched on this in a video, a couple of videos in fact, but there is 5 things up for debate and proposal items, one of which is election of directors. A lot of people seem to care about that and like to look at profiles of all these individuals. Me, I don't really care too much. So again, that's might differ from your viewpoint. Number 2 is to ratify the selection, which is Grant Thornton as the accounting firm, and it's been the accounting firm for a while, so I don't anticipate any kind of discrepancies in that. Number 3 is a little bit more of a monetary one, so it says to approve on an advisory basis the compensation of our named executive officers as disclosed in our proxy statement. And then number 4, to approve the amendment of the Lucid Group Inc. amended and restated 2021 stock incentive plan. And then finally, number 4 is as far as the amendment to and restatement of the company's current certificate of incorporation. So nothing really risque. If anything, number 3 might be the only thing to really watch for, because that's of course how a lot of the big executives are being paid and kind of their bonuses and how that's all allocated. So definitely take a look at that. But outside of that though, it's just the upcoming earnings. And of course, even based on this, it's even going to cause a little bit more of a potential ripple across EVs going into tomorrow, just Tesla earnings. So a lot of people seem to be caring about any earnings in 2023 so far, because more so the future guidance. What is a lot of these companies forecasting for the remaining part of the year? And especially with Lucid in particular, they are going to be really watched very closely. Based on the Q4 transcripts that did come out, it did indicate that Q1 numbers were going to be significantly lower, which generally speaking is bad per se, but because of some recent events, it might be bullish. On a side note, if you are looking for a lot of good compiled information such as this, take a look at Seeking Alpha Premium, link in the description below. I do have a 7-day free trial for you guys. But when it comes down to, like I said, it being positive, as far as upcoming earnings, it's a little bit more kind of reverse psychology, because typically when it comes down to earnings, there's several different things investors care about: earnings per share, revenue, future guidance. Under the future guidance, that is kind of the end all be all. That's absolutely everything under the sun. Normally it was reservations. Going forward, they're not going to disclose any of their reservation numbers, so it's just going to be a lot of the other kind of finite details. But more specifically, when it comes down to, for instance, earnings per share, it gets compared against the analyst estimates. So you can see, for instance, earnings per share, it was roughly around 3 months ago negative 35 cents. It is now negative 39 cents, and that does show and indicate 4 additional analysts giving ratings recently, as of, it looks like 4 weeks ago. So of course, when analysts kind of project it to be a little bit more worse off, that sometimes is a positive thing, because for instance, if Lucid does come in line with the original forecast, then that is considered a beat. So what I mean by that is, for instance, looking at the Q4 ones. So as you can see, the actual did come in at negative 43 cents. The average estimate was negative 41 cents. So that is a little bit more of a surprise, negative surprise of negative 2 cents. So of course, they didn't necessarily beat in that regard. Versus the Q3 of 2022, they beat it by 7 cents. So this is where it all comes down to play based on analyst estimates. So for instance, hopefully I didn't lose a lot of you guys, but when it comes down to the analysts as of late, they've been a little bit more additionally bearish on Lucid, but like I've said, that might actually indirectly turn out to be a positive thing for Lucid. So again, a little bit more of a reverse psychology thing happening there. And as you can see, based on the analyst estimates so far on the Q1 is just absolutely garbage. So virtually there's absolutely no expectation from Lucid. But keep in mind, during this time frame, there would have been also Formula E, them ramping up and completing the amount of production that they have been doing, and maybe some other avenues. Maybe something for ESS might be a little bit more premature there, but as far as revenue, it does look like 4 additional analysts did give estimates based on this as well. Previously, it was 375.5 million for the overall revenue, but now it looks like it is 204.32 million. So definitely a massive reduction, but like I said, indirectly, that might actually help Lucid. But again, I could be very much wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. You guys do your own due diligence at the end of the day. So again, this might be a very positive way to think about this upcoming earnings. So again, it is what it is. Let me know your guys' thoughts on that in the comments below. When it comes down to it though, like I mentioned, there is a couple of things that you need to really watch for, one of which is the shareholder meeting that is on the 24th, and then right here on May the 8th after hours, I believe at 3 o'clock, that is when the Q1 earnings are going to be. So 2 points to really add to your calendar. I'm going to be live streaming both, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. So I'll give you guys a quick overview for the remaining part of what happened today, starting with shorts. So shorts have been really a big pain for Lucid, kind of stagnant over the last little bit though, but short score is currently 86, utilization is 100%, but it's been 100% for a while. But today they increased 923,000 shares. So not too much in the grand scheme of things, because in total there's 148.25 million shares being shorted. Cost to borrow, oddly enough, kind of spiked higher, so of course that could be perceived as positive behind the scenes, and 23.13% of the free float is being shorted. And like I've said in previous videos, I do anticipate prior to their earnings, which again is on May the 8th, them to really announce the Gravity unveiling, and most likely the event being after the earnings, so that way they'll be able to talk on it during the actual true earnings. My own thoughts, of course. So definitely might be a positive thing coming out over the next 2 weeks as far as the Gravity and a little bit more context and details around that. And as far as options activity today, it was a little bit more negative, as you can see, but I think in reality a lot of people were hedging with more so Tesla in mind, because like I've said, whatever does happen to Tesla does trickle down to Lucid. Unfortunately, there was $1.73 million worth of put premium today versus 631,000 for calls. So very much oriented towards puts, insinuating downside is potentially coming. So again, it is what it is. Let me know you guys' thoughts on that. As far as big money, what they were doing today, a little bit more of a buying opportunity from what it looks like based on the bid and the ask. The number of transactions have been going down over the last couple of weeks per se. So once again, that might be something to realize, but I think generally speaking, that's been a more common thing among a lot of growth stocks, just a reduction in overall buying. And looking at this right here, stochastic is currently at 39, so a little bit more neutral, but you do have a little bit more of an underlying bearish sentiment in behind the scenes at least. So of course, if there is some positive news that does come out, maybe the Gravity unveiling, it could have a nice little value rally because of this. Number of retail investors have been getting out over the last couple of days, largely because most likely the whole Tesla and just earnings week in general, because this is a lot of big companies announcing earnings this week, and a lot could go very much right or a lot could go very much wrong, because we don't know. And of course, based on today and even after hours, it is still between the S1 and the pivot, but like I've mentioned, $7.36 is a pretty big point to watch for. So potentially a little bit more of a rollover from Tesla and their negative earnings going into tomorrow. $7.36 is something to really watch for, because if it does break that, then unfortunately it could be trading between the S2 and the S1, so $6.89. So a little bit more of a slippery slope going down. But like I said, because of the earnings, that did come out, and the kind of negativeness of analysts potentially might work actually into Lucid's favor, which I know kind of sounds backwards and absolutely crazy, but this is the type of environment we are investing in now. So once again, let me know your guys' thoughts on Lucid in the comments below. Are you guys bullish on Lucid, bearish? What do you guys think about this upcoming Q1 earnings? My particular take on it though isn't necessarily the most optimistic, but like I said, and unfortunately I think I've been saying this quite a lot over the last several earnings, I do truly feel that this upcoming earnings might be the worst of the worst. Q2 most likely will get a little bit better, but still have a lot of underlying signs of fear, because based on the actual transcripts from the Q4, they for the most part outline exactly step by step, quarter by quarter, on how 2023 is going to go down. And even in their regard, they talk on Q1 for the most part how it's not necessarily the most optimistic. Of course, in Q2, they do really signify about the whole international delivery. So I think that will be very, very positive and hopefully have a nice additional revenue source and get rid of all those cars that are on the parking lot ideally. But like I said, because of this and how they outline, for instance, Q3 and so forth, even in Q4, they talk on the phase 2 and how there's going to be kind of shutdowns, temporary shutdowns. So of course, looking on the transcript, I highly recommend you guys reading all of that, because like I said, it does outline exactly how 2023 is going to play out in Lucid's minds, of course. But no matter what, let me know you guys' thoughts on all of that in the comments below. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Even though Lucid is tentatively going down, sideways, wherever it's going, take advantage of some free stuff such as promos with 𝗪𝗧𝗪. Link in the description below and also the comments. Sign up for a free account and you get one free stock. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. Complete no-brainer. Make sure you guys take advantage of that while you can. I believe this promo is only for April in among itself. Plus, 𝗪𝗧𝗪 does offer $0 commission and free level 2 trading. So complete no-brainer in my opinion. And as you can see, if you do deposit $100, you get additional 4 free stocks. So like I said, complete no-brainer. Take advantage while you can. And without further ado, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on Lucid.